So, by the way, everybody's argument sounds good till you give the other person the chance to say their side. So, if me showing, I had a Ferrari years before, I never showed it to anybody. But once I realized that a Ferrari and Lamborghini would inspire kids, and it does, man, it's crazy. If I know it gets a couple 100 million people interested in reading books, then say what you will. I feel like it's a powerful tool. So in terms of narcissism, narcissism is different, by the way. Showing a Ferrari or a Lamborghini is not the same as narcissism. Narcissism is to actually, so you could have a Ferrari and Lamborghini and never show it to anybody and be narcissistic. Narcissistic traits or tendencies are a state of mind, not necessarily a state of action. So they're people who only can see the world through their lens. That's what a narcissist is. Showing off has nothing to do with narcissism, really. So here's a narcissist. I'll give you an example. You know, right now I'm sick. So let's say I'm over at my friend's house and I am like, dude, I'm super sick. And they come over, they go, oh, you're sick? And then 5 minutes later, they came and slapped you on the back. Yo, what's up, man? How you doing? And you're like, why are you slapping me on the back? I'm achy, I'm sore. And they go, oh, crap, I forgot. You see, narcissism makes people forget other people's situations. That's what narcissism is. So they're so self-focused, even though you told them you were sick, they immediately forget it because they're in their world. The best example where you'll see narcissism, you ever gone on an airplane and there's a long line of people waiting to get on, and there's one person taking their jacket off slowly, putting their bag up, maybe getting a few things out of the bag, bringing it down, putting it, and you're like thinking, don't you see Brian Regan, the comedian, has a long, funny comedy thing about this. He's like, don't you see all the other people? Because when I get on an airplane, I'm always like, I'll just put my bag up real quick, sit down, and then once we get in the air, I'll stand up and get my book later. I can do that later. Or I think ahead and have my book in my hand. But there's people on an airplane that are so narcissistic that they just are in their, Brian Regan calls it Captain You planet. They're in Captain You planet, Captain Me planet. Like, ooh, I'm the only person on this airplane. No one else matters. The most narcissistic person on any airplane is always little children. Because little children will start screaming and crying on an airplane because they don't care about anybody else. They call that, for those of you who want a more scientific term, it's called theory of the mind, TOM. And it basically is a psychological concept that when you're 1 year old, you don't have a theory of the mind. You basically see yourself as fully the center of planet Earth. And usually it's not until you're about 5, 6 years old that you start to develop a theory of the mind. And what happens with most people, almost all people I meet, their theory of the mind, TOM, it's just underdeveloped. Like they developed it a little bit, but not a lot. And if you can develop yours more than the status quo level of planet Earth, you will have such an advantage. And I'm actually much more, people think maybe because they see Ferrari and Lamborghini, they think that I'm narcissistic in my marketing. I'm not. I'm very good at adjusting the message and reading the message. Like I said, even the Ferrari and Lamborghini, the reason that I use those to get people to read books is because I've tested multiple things. And that's the thing that got people to want to read. Hello? You can have parents around the world. You can have the White House literacy program. You can have every school teacher in the world lecture kids and go, you should read. It doesn't work. Hasn't that experiment been run for the last 100 years and nobody reads? But if you show people, here's the reward of getting knowledgeable about things, then all of a sudden people are like, I want to read. So it's really, believe it or not, that marketing campaign that I did has basically been the most intuitive marketing campaign in the history of humanity. I don't mean that in a cocky way. I'm just saying, look at the results. Look at the numbers. It has been. And it's not because I'm such a genius. It's because I was able to tap in and listen to people, what they wanted. I tried different things. I had a book club before. That doesn't get hundreds of millions of people to watch the video. And so it's in some ways it's hard, in some ways it's easy.